and Nick Durst, live on the UCY.TV network.
Hey everybody, it's 8:01 on October the 12th, and I'm your host, John Brown. I'm here with my co-host, Nick Durst. What's going on, Nick?
What's going on, John? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Sports, Politics, and More, episode 10 of the program, which is, it's been a quick 10 weeks, and although we've been doing this a lot longer now, me and John. But hey, if you want to get involved in the discussion tonight, I'm sure a lot of you have a lot to say coming off the latest presidential debate / town hall, whatever you want to call it. It was pretty much bad to the bone. Ken was there with his red sweater. But give us a call, 1-718-717-8296. We'll take your call. As long as it goes through, we've been having some Skype issues the last few weeks, so if anything happens tonight, just bear with us. And you can also tweet us. I'm at Nick_Durst. John is at SI_sports. And you can also tweet us at spam_UCYTV. Or, of course, just write to us in the UCY lobby chat. We'll be taking your questions throughout the show. So, John, we're going to get into the debate. Let's hold off because I have a feeling we will get some callers, or at least one, to discuss the debate. So why don't we start off by talking about a former NFL player wanting to become an MMA fighter.
What?
So did you hear about this?
No, I haven't. Who is he?
It is the scum of the earth, Greg Hardy.
No!
Oh, I did hear about that. Yeah, he's going to go from hitting women to hitting guys. Get the fuck out of here.
So here's the thing. I think he didn't know that he actually is going to have to fight men. I think he thought he was going to be able to get in the bantamweight division. Unfortunately for Greg Hardy, he will have to fight men. But hey, the NFL smartened up finally. They will not be taking him back. So I think some people might pay to see him get his ass kicked, but UFC won't be taking him, that's for sure.
Well, look, I mean, the idea of Greg...
What's going on here? Where did this guy come from?
Basically, now I come in wherever I'm needed. But on the case of Greg Hardy, listen, I mean, if he's trying to literally go into UFC, good luck, man, because we all saw what happened to CM Punk after he left WWE and got into UFC octagon. He got his ass kicked, and Greg Hardy will likely end up in the same situation. He's going to get his ass kicked. Oh, and by the way, on the topic of UFC, guys, my favorite female UFC fighter is coming back December 30th. You hear about that?
Ronda Rousey's coming back.
Yes, she's coming back, boys. Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, the whole thing with the UFC fighters, which people don't understand, especially Greg Hardy, they think because they're big or they're athletic that they're good fighters. It's a completely different thing. You know, the idea that, oh, I'm a big blah, 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 I'm going to beat you up. Like, look at Kimbo Slice. If you go on the internet, you go on YouTube, watch Kimbo Slice beat up strangers all over the internet. It was a big thing in the 90s, sort of like the bum fight thing. But when he went to the UFC, he got his ass kicked because these guys are professional fighters. So the entire time when Greg Hardy was playing Pee Wee football and high school football and college football, these guys were fighting and getting black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling in the Olympics. They're world-class athletes, and you think that you're just going to walk into that it's obscene, it's stupid. And I can't wait to watch him get his ass kicked in one of these bullshit wannabe UFCs, like KSMW or some bullshit. It'd be like some backyard wrestling shit.
Oh boy, Grimm's Toy Show backyard wrestling.
I would like to see him fight Ronda Rousey.
I was thinking about this, not about Greg Hardy particularly, but with Floyd Mayweather. And Mayweather talks all of this shit. Now, obviously, if Mayweather connects with Rousey, he's probably going to knock her out because he does have a big weight and height and reach. But if she could get in there before he could hurt her, she could take him to the ground and fuck him up good. So I think that'd actually be a pretty legit fight. The problem is if it's a standing fight, even the best woman is going to have 30 pounds of muscle deficiency. And you see in fighting, a 20-pound difference in a professional fight is night and day. You can't let people fight in different weight classes. It's just
definitely. And as we get closer to this fight, we'll probably have our MMA expert on, Brad Popkin. He's been on a few times, also talks NBA. But we got a few months till this happens. So when we get to that point, we will talk about it. But let's talk about something that's really rapidly approaching now, and that's going to be the presidential election. John was at a wedding on a Sunday night, missed the Giants get their ass kicked, and he also missed the debate. I was watching the Giants, and I was watching No Mercy, WWE pay-per-view, which wasn't that great either. Now, we know Andrew, our political pundit over here, so he calls himself, he watched most of it. So, Andrew, before me and John give our opinions, and John, I know, watched a ton of recaps on it and the highlights. Andrew, what can you tell us about the debate/town hall?
Well, I will be happy to give you my reaction to this debate. At the beginning, you had Trump sounding completely boring, okay? Basically, he sounded like he was the shell of himself. Basically, the fired up Donald Trump basically disappeared for about the first 20 minutes. Then, after that, it was a verbal fist fight, and basically, Trump and Clinton were throwing punches at each other verbally, but I have to admit about my favorite highlight of the whole debate, which was that Trump basically told Clinton, you're going to be going to jail. I am going to be putting a special prosecutor to your case. I mean, that basically, to me, gave me confidence that I will definitely be voting for Donald Trump.
I think a lot of people did. He was a little more aggressive. He was sort of himself. I feel like all of this, the GOP setting up this bullshit with that video and really trying to sabotage his campaign. The fact that they walked away and he could sort of shed them a little bit. I think it's going to work wonders for him. I thought he did excellent in the debate. He was able to bring out a lot of the stuff that the media just refuses to cover. And I think that's something that's getting swept under the rug a little bit by the regular media is the fact that these WikiLeaks emails are coming out and they're bombshells and no one's even talking to them. Now, Nick, I know you, like myself, are a Catholic. Did you hear about what the Clinton's campaign manager was saying about Catholics in the new email?
The new WikiLeaks? I did not see that. I'd be interested in hearing what in the third batch of WikiLeaks the Clinton campaign said now.
Yeah, so anyway, so the guy's name is John Bethesda. He's a real scumbag. And here's a little side note before I get into the Catholic story. If anyone out there is worried about cybersecurity whatsoever, I don't think the people are trying to get my emails or anything. But try to use different passwords everywhere, people. It's not that hard. I've seen the...
Yeah, so definitely you got to use different passwords. And that way it's harder for them to break into everything. And Andrew, I want to wish you a happy New Year, as we know you're Jewish, and happy Yom Kippur. I'm a little surprised. I understand why you and John had lunch yesterday, but how did you spend the day today?
For many people who are not aware, I am a non-Orthodox Jew, meaning that I am not religious, of course, and basically I do not fast Yom Kippur, but I do observe the Jewish New Year, obviously, by taking the day off, of course, which is my moral obligation to the Jewish religion. So, in terms of how my day was, it was a usual, regular day of me just being at Northwell Health today.
Regular work day. But,
yeah.
The reason I mentioned the change in your passwords is because this idiot didn't change his password to his iCloud, and the people on 4chan poll, which is a great board if anyone actually wants to check it out. It's a lot of crazy people, but they do good work. They stole his iCloud information and they downloaded everything from his iCloud. So,
hey Johnny, can you repeat the name again because your audio is coming in a little choppy?
Oh, sorry about that. His name is John Bethesda. I'll post his.
Oh, the guy on WikiLeaks, yeah.
Yes. So he his email password was in one of the leaks, and he never changed his password from all of his other accounts. So basically, they were able to just log right into his iCloud account. They took over his phone, the whole nine. So stand by for more leaks, because now they have everything that's on his iCloud.
On a quick side note here, anybody that uses iCloud is an absolute idiot.
Oh boy, iCloud. I'm already thinking of that horrible Cameron Diaz movie.
Vanilla Sky?
Sex tape.
With Jason Segel.
Yeah, well, that's what happened as well. Like, the iCloud's how it left the whole happening thing where we got all the nudes from everybody. You think the guy who's actually involved in all this political corruption would know better to use not a Gmail account and not an iCloud? Like, what an idiot.
Yeah, and lots of bad things coming out of those leaks now, but for some reason the media doesn't really want to cover it. But John, what did you say about Catholics?
Oh, sorry, I got sidetracked. He was making fun of the owner of Fox, Murdoch, for raising his kids Catholic.
For raising his kids Catholic. Wow, yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Murdoch got his kids baptized in the River Jordan, and basically it's a whole email string about basically making fun of him, how stupid that is.
Well, that's really ridiculous, especially when I think the majority of Americans are of some sort of Christian background.
Oh, boy.
We are a Judeo-Christian society, so making fun of literally half the society is a terrible move, and the fact that they won't apologize for it is so ridiculous. So when one reporter actually grew a pair and asked about it, the only answer they got was, it was hacked from Russia, so we're not talking about it. That doesn't make it less true.
Yeah, and you know what? Andrew, there's really only one word to describe this. Let me know if you agree. Deplorable. These actions are deplorable.
Being deplorable, you're right, is when you're being anti-Semitic. No question. I am definitely offended by this.
That's another thing that people want to look past. Do you remember the DNC leaks, which were not happening?
Yeah, the DNC leaks, they were crazy. Remember the whole thing, Andrew, with, they were calling Mexicans Taco Bowl voters, and they said they really didn't care about them, and the fix was in on Bernie Sanders. Do you recall that? Because you were a Sanders supporter, right?
Yes, and it involved Debbie Wasserman Schultz, believe it or not.
Yeah, and they actually said a bunch of anti-Semitic stuff about Bernie. They were going to use that as a platform for him to lose in the southern states.
Just ridiculous. And at the end of the day, I still feel that Senator Sanders got screwed from being involved in a fair primary challenge with Hillary Clinton. It was basically the Democratic Committee all along trying to make sure that Hillary would not cough up the nomination to a 74-year-old socialist.
Absolutely. And Andrew, if you look at the newer leaks, there's even...
Yeah, the newer leaks is even further information upon that. Andrew, how much of the newer WikiLeaks have you seen or read into?
Well, I really haven't been reading them closely, but I do want to take a look at them myself because basically now that's the only way we're getting news accurately nowadays.
Yeah, the things here that I've been seeing, and if you go on SI_sports Twitter, he's been retweeting them like crazy, John. And he really does his research and digs deep, and he knows basically all about these leaks. He's basically read every single email. But some of the things that have been said are a disgrace, and the fact that the American media will not cover it is really not, fair to American citizens who are not getting an unbiased news broadcast here.
Listen. I'm going to be honest. The only person in the media that should be covering this, in my mind, has to be Michael Savage, because he is the only person in any form of media that will not be biased. Okay? He will bring up the emails tomorrow, because keep in mind, he wasn't on the air today. But I guarantee you tomorrow, when Michael Savage is on, the Savage Nation, obviously, he's going to bring up the whole WikiLeaks situation. Because think about it. You're not going to hear it on cable. You're not going to hear it on the lamestream media. Who are you going to hear it from? A nationally syndicated talk show host who, by the way, will be going into the Radio Hall of Fame this year.
Andrew, I thought you said that his show got pulled, so it's not syndicated anymore. What happened there?
He is syndicated. He still is.
You told me that he got pulled from the airwaves.
Oh, no, he didn't. He got pulled from WABC for a day because Curtis and Kubi were doing debate coverage and making fun of him.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little odd.
No, Cumulus is still making a shit ton of money from him, believe me.
All right. So that's, yeah. So, but back to the actual debate here. Did you feel that the moderators were fair to both candidates, or do you think they were swinging one way or the other?
This is where I bring Michael Savage in again, because on Monday he was basically making fun of Martha Raddatz and Anderson Cooper. And keep in mind, I know Martha Raddatz very well because I do watch ABC News a lot, unfortunately. But I feel that one point during this debate, and, I also heard Governor Christie talking about on WFAN the other day, was that, Martha was actually debating Donald Trump on one question.
Yeah,
and it was so annoying when that part of the debate happened, because I'm thinking, I've never heard a moderator debate the candidates before.
Yeah, it was... The fact that she was going after Trump, I mean, she's supposed to be... If you're doing the debate moderation, you have to be 100% totally unbiased. And another thing is, on the newest leak, actually, apparently the interim chair of the DNC was seen emailing a senior Clinton advisor saying, I get the questions ahead of time for the debate, implying she was going to pass them along. How unfair is that?
I definitely agree.
John Brown.
It's unfair.
Is not available. Please leave a message after the tone.
What the heck is going on?
Okay. Hello, are we on the air?
That was pretty strange. I don't know what's going on with the phones. But, yeah, so like we were saying, the leak indicated
John Brown.
All right, John is messing around with the phones
Please leave
here.
a message after the tone.
All right.
That's odd.
All right, John. Andrew, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still on. Am I on the air?
Yeah, I think we're on the air right now.
Yeah, it says we're on the air, so that's a good
Okay,
thing.
so John's...
Yeah, sorry about that. I tried calling my cell phone, but for whatever reason, it's...
Well,
Going
John
right
is
to
not available, so... another
Blame
week...
your Dell computer. Blame your Dell computer, John.
I do. It's a piece of shit.
Another week of phone issues.
Okay, anyhow, Nick, can you repeat the question again so that way my train of thought can come back?
So, we're discussing in the newest WikiLeaks that the current interim chair of the
Oh
GNC.
yeah, you were talking about how Hillary's getting the questions, forwarded to her in advance way before the debate. So I'll be happy to answer that question. Okay, so basically I feel that any candidate, Republican or Democrat, should not be told what the questions are going to be asked before a debate, because you're supposed to basically get fired up for a question. Like, you're supposed to be like, stop, question this, question that. I'm so used to that in a debate. And I feel that it's unfair for the Democratic committee to look up the information of what the moderator is going to ask them. You're supposed to basically, again, as I just said, you get a question thrown at you, you are supposed to answer it. Plain simple. It just proves how the Democratic National Committee just proves it every single day how corrupt they are to help Hillary Clinton win this election.
Absolutely. It's very corrupt, and it's not good. For those of you who don't know, Andrew posts a lot of clips on YouTube for gaming world, political stuff, and a lot of WFAN. And you actually did post Monday when Governor Chris Christie filled in for Boomer Esiason, or maybe it was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday. So why don't you let everybody know who's not in New York what Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey had to say about what's going on?
Well, I figured I want to bring up the Donald Trump audio that was leaked this past weekend. And with regards to the audio, I have to agree with what the governor said. That was completely inappropriate. And before that, I thought that Trump's privacy got violated, obviously, and I wondered whoever leaked the audio in the first place is going to get prosecuted. But what Trump said in the tape, it was wrong of him to say that. And, I mean, when I think of that, I'm thinking, okay, that's something you say in private, not, on a recorded audio clip that could haunt you, in a big situation in the near future. So, again, it was wrong, and I agree with the governor. I'm glad he was apologetic about it, Mr. Trump. And, hopefully this issue will, hopefully it sounds like it's way past us now, because Trump was basically being hilarious on the campaign trail today. So, yeah, I thought the governor made some valid points while he was on FAN this week. And if you want to hear the audio for yourself, because I really think it was a great interview done by Craig Carton, even though he acts like a goofball, check out my YouTube channel later on after the show ends. Andy's Randomness is my channel name. And, I think it's a good 15-minute interview that you should listen to, because the governor was really candid about how he felt.
Absolutely. He had to answer the questions, and he did.
But one thing that bothered me about the interview was, and, for people who live in New Jersey, especially John, they did not bring up the North Jersey casino vote. I'm wondering, maybe it was for time reasons, because, maybe the producers, Al Dukes or Eddie Scazzeri were thinking, okay, too much, Craig, just move on to sports already. Yeah, but I really do want to hear Governor Christie's opinion on the North Jersey casinos, because it's a very big issue for people who are voting in New Jersey.
Speaking of casinos, the Trump Taj Mahal closed down this week. And
yes, let's move on to that.
A lot of Americans don't understand. A lot of Americans who just say, I hate Trump. They don't realize that Donald Trump has nothing to do with the Trump Taj Mahal. He hasn't owned it since 2009. Hasn't been CEO since 2004. And for those of you that follow any of us on Twitter, you can see that we were engaging with a bunch of idiots who were saying, and you want him to run the country, yada, yada, yada.
I hate how I got dragged into that.
How did you like that? How'd you like that, Andrew? Were you laughing at all?
No, I read the tweets and I didn't even reply to them because I was so annoyed how I was dragged into it in the first place.
I thought it was funny how... Well, let me just read a few tweets here, give some people some love on Twitter.
Oh, boy, let's call them out.
Let's call them out. John, before I read this, do you have any opinion on this? Do you want to chime in on how we were attacking these people on Twitter?
It's the real problem in this entire election. They just say, oh, MTV told me that Trump is bad. So anything that has Trump's name on it must immediately be bad. So they see this headline, they just jump all over it.
Yeah, bunch of dopes. So Devon Grace, and if you want to check her out on Twitter, it's at MSDEBGRACE. So Ms. Deb Grace. She writes one of his write-offs, period, and then in parentheses, Trump Taj Mahal, hashtag never Trump. So I responded saying Trump doesn't even own the Trump Taj Mahal, SMH. She goes, okay, great. I was wondering how a business of his lasted 26 years. Not his. I wrote, he owned it in 2009, was CEO in 2009. And then John wrote, please, he is a billionaire. And this lady is from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, and then we
People
also
need to get educated, plain simple.
Yeah, and we also have something here where John just called it out.
Absolutely ridiculous.
That a lot of
The
whole people are
scenario with any of the people is just beyond me.
Yeah, and people don't dig for the facts. It's crazy. Then we got we actually have Nick Elson, smart guy, at Nick ELSON20, who responded to us saying, U.S. facing bankruptcy. Hillary helped cause that. That is the truth. That's also truthful. Hillary was, I believe she was senator.
I also blame Obama.
Well, but Hillary was senator during the recession. Am I wrong or not? Or
Yes, she was. Yes, she was, unfortunately.
yeah. Then we have Mike Jeffrey at CANEHDN. He writes, at Donald Trump, at Hillary Clinton, this is how Trump planned on taking care of American middle class. Hillary for the win. I wrote, Trump doesn't even know when the Trump Taj Mahal, SMH. He writes, the fate of that hotel was brought during Trump's reign. I kind of finished it off. And I said, wrong, Trump hasn't owned it since 2009. They didn't go into bankruptcy until 2014. And Tyler Durden, a.k.a. John, writes, oh, you can tell Mike Jeffrey is in the casino business, right? Where's your buddy? And I think, Andrew, you liked that tweet. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, yeah, that one. Where's your buddy?
So
That was my favorite highlight.
So, John, you know this guy at all, or are you just calling him out for being a Hillary supporter who doesn't know anything about Trump?
For being a liberal communist.
Yeah, I guess John's just pretty much speechless over that guy's tweets. But I can read some more of those tweets throughout the show. But Andrew, we got your take on the biggest news story coming out of the debate. Do you know what it was?
Can you elaborate on it?
Wow. Internet sensation Ken Bone is at the debate asking about fossil fuel with his red sweater. Did you see this guy?
I actually have not seen that.
You haven't seen Ken Bone 18 on Twitter? Oh man, Andrew, have you been living under a rock or something? So basically,
If I was tagged in a tweet, I would have read it.
just if you could go on Twitter, go at Ken Bone and 18. This guy asked a question about a real good question, like if you become president, what do you do to preserve the fossil fuel business? I work in it, I want to make sure our job's safe. And then after that, he was trending on Twitter. The next morning, he did a radio interview because everyone was talking about this guy, and they were like, "Do you have a Twitter?" And he's like, Ken Bone 18. He started the morning 2 days ago with his 7 Twitter followers, 2 of which were his grandmother. Since then, guess how many Twitter followers he has?
I'm going to say close to 1 million.
Not quite. It's only been 2 days, but he has 184,000. I mean, that's insane. And he had it prior to this whole thing happening. He hadn't tweeted since 2013, which is absolutely crazy. And at that point, he was like,
I think I may have found him. Ken Bone 18?
yeah. And
That's him. I see him.
Yeah, so he's just internet sensation. He got his red sweater. It was an Izod sweater. Guess what happened with that sweater after the whole debate? It sold out in hours. So if you wanted to buy that red Izod sweater, it is completely sold out.
John Brown.
It's really hard
Is
to
not
believe.
available. Please
All
leave a
right, John
message after
Brown
the
wants to
tone.
play his voice message. which is great. John, how you doing? Thanks for playing your voice message for us. Me and Andrew are here, and we hope you're enjoying the show. Isn't that right, Andrew?
Yeah, John apparently seems to have problems with his laptop. I'm actually going to get into that with our listeners right now because I think they really need to know what's going on. So, yesterday, me and John were having lunch at the same Irish pub that me and him usually eat on 7th and 33rd, right by Penn Station. So, here's the story. So, me and him are talking about the problems from last week's show because I was watching the Met game last week. And right when we were having the appetizer with, I think it was the mozzarella sticks, yeah. So me and him were talking about it. I'm drinking my Diet Coke. And he's basically complaining to me that, oh, my laptop isn't working. It has a stupid driver. And I tell him, I have a Toshiba laptop. Even though it's shitty, it still gets the job done. 7th and 33rd.
Yeah, it gets the job done, so I'm not really quite sure why John's having all those technical difficulties. But, I mean, the phone lines did go down today on the Mike Francesa show. So,
oh, really? They went down today?
If it could happen there, it could happen to any of us. And it was actually funny because Mike was, just talking normally, and all of a sudden, it wasn't like the end. It wasn't like after 20 minutes he was going to go to a break or an update. He just started doing a read, and he was like, I'm doing this read because the phone lines are down, which was pretty funny. And did you have
Wait a minute. I have to check RN's Funhouse. Okay, if any of you are big Mike Francesa fans, RN's Funhouse, the guy's amazing. Check him out. I'm pretty sure he has to have a video up on Twitter and giving it to Mons already.
You know what's funny was yesterday's show during the Dodgers-Nationals game. RN's Funhouse did post this. The Dodgers were up or whatever, and Mike's doing a read about Bowl sheets, whatever the heck he is.
Branch.
Yeah, he's like, Bowl branch sheets, nothing but, Dodgers got the bases loaded, Dodgers got the bases loaded. So Bowl branch sheets right now. So it was pretty funny. Yeah, but like we were saying here, this guy Ken Bone, Andrew, definitely got to check him out. Had the red sweater, which sold out. He was going to wear an olive suit, but he said that when he got in his car, his pants ripped, so he got to put the olive suit on. He's just been a sensation. I don't know if you watched Jimmy Kimmel Live at all, but he is actually on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night, in addition to being on CNN all day yesterday talking about this. But he's a true American, prideful guy.
Oh boy, why couldn't Michael Savage get him on its program for crying out loud?
He's like, I don't know who to vote for still, but everybody needs to get out there and vote. And it's true. You need to vote. It's very important to vote, no matter who you're going to vote for.
Especially this year. Everything's at stake this year. No
Even if you're going to vote for Gary Johnson, who Andrew was originally considering, or Jill Stein, you have to get out there and vote. It's very important. It's a very crucial election here. And he's also on Fox and Friends. Just internet sensation, this guy. There was also a Vine of him after the debate. Bill Clinton comes over to shake his hand, and then Ken took a picture of his disposable camera of the set. So I'm really surprised you haven't seen this guy, Andrew. He's been trending. But if you look at him, and you saw his Twitter, right? You found his Twitter?
Yeah, I found it. I'm following him. It says I'm following him. Thank you.
Does he look like any particular member of Mongo Nation? Because to me, he looks like a particular guy. I'll see if you can.
Are you thinking of Mark Mongo?
Yes.
Oh my God, he does look like a chubbier Mark Mongo.
Definitely. And so Mark, this guy Ken. For those of you who don't know Mark Mongo. And first, before I talk about Ken, I'm going to mention Ken first here. People were saying, Ken, you should run for president. And Ken said, I'm not old enough. So that means Ken's younger than 35, which is a little hard to believe. But for those of us, those non-New York listeners, Andrew, tell them who Mark Mongo is and who his big Twitter feud is with right now.
All right, I will happily get into it. So, Mark Mongo, his real name is Mark Baldwin because he was on Mike Francesa's show last year. He's basically one of the main reasons why Mongo Nation got started in the first place. And he's basically a loyal Mike Francesa fan, obviously. And I think it was a few months ago that this other guy named Jim Giacho, a.k.a. Tim in Milford, Connecticut, they got into a feud because Tim thought that Mark blocked him on Twitter, and basically it led to a whole 140 character or less brawl, and basically they don't talk to each other, and basically now it has Mongo Nation divided for the past few months, where now once again I'm neutral on the issue, of course, because again, why do I need to get involved in this?
Yeah,
The
remember,
main thing is it's crazy.
remember
It's
for a time, Mike in New Haven, who's called our show a few times, he got involved in the feud as well.
Oh boy, yeah, Mike in New Haven.
Yeah, so
By the way, do you know what Mike has been doing lately?
he's been calling Boston radio for some reason.
He's actually doing a pretty good job on WEEI radio. And for people who are in Boston, if you're listening to Han and I forget the other guy, because again, I'm not familiar with Boston radio.
Han
'Cause again, I don't know the name of the show, but apparently it's number one on that station, and Mike's apparently doing a pretty good job on that show. So if you're in Boston, you hear the name Mike in New Haven, you'll know you'll hear it from us. But again, I don't.
I think everyone wants to know when you're going to call the fan again. It's been a while.
Well, I'm going to check WFAN's schedule because I want to talk boxing with Tony Page eventually, sooner or not, because
Heck yeah, I was going to fight again.
No. I'm actually upset about Klitschko. Tyson Fury postponed the match again. I am completely upset.
Well, you know, if it's boxing and it's on the fan, it's Tony Page. That's for sure.
Well, I've actually been paying attention to the boxing lately a little bit, and they're trying to get Klitschko to fight a new heavyweight competitor. So I don't know what's happening with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm upset about Tyson Fury with his injuries. I mean, basically, plain simple, Klitschko lost. We knew that story a year ago, but why haven't those two fought for a rematch in over a year?
Well,
It's inexcusable.
there's only one person that can answer that question, and that's Tony Page. Hopefully you get to call him soon. Let's talk about here, which is the other major news story right now. That's the MLB playoffs.
Uh-oh. I just looked up the schedule. I can't be on FAN this week.
How come? Tony's not on?
No, he's not on this week. I just found out.
Why don't you call Mike and ask him about
But if
boxing?
if Tony Page is somehow listening, if you're on FAN on a Saturday night, I will happily give you a call and we'll talk about this because, we've talked about it before and we got to talk about it again. So, end of story on that situation.
Alrighty, alright. So, let's talk some baseball. Andrew, you had the Blue Jays win the wild card and sweep the Rangers. We are the North. And, man, the Rogers Center is crazy to play out. It's a crazy home field advantage. The crowd is so loud. Then you had the Indians sweep the Red Sox. Big Papi's career is done. Amazing career. Should be a Hall of Fame.
Yes, Big Papi is done. Yeah!
And then you had the Cubs with an amazing comeback last night. Did you happen to watch that game?
I was listening to it on the radio, believe it or not, because I wasn't in front of my TV. But yeah, I'm actually rooting for the Cubs to break the curse, and I was very very happy that the Cubs are going to the NLCS, and I will be closely paying attention to the game tomorrow with the Dodgers and Nationals. I don't care who they're playing. All I know is I just want to see the Cubs win their first pennant since 1945. Oh, Nick, I got to get going, but I hope John gets back on the air.
All right. Well, I don't know about that, but we'll have to everyone's got to hear me talking for the next 22 minutes. Andrew, thanks for calling in this evening.
All right, no problem. It's always a pleasure to be on UCY.TV with you, Nick. Take care.
All right, and if anyone wants to follow Andrew, I think he's at Andy's Randomness on Twitter. So, we're going to talk a little baseball here. And let's talk about the Dodgers-Nationals series, which is the only series still going on.
Hey, guys, what's going on?
Oh, look who's back. John Brown is back.
Back again, man. I had to break out my St. John's computer and log in.
Wonderful. Well, hopefully it works. Yeah, so And we actually have a comment from the chat here, because Andrew's talking boxing, and we have a comment from Frank Tadaro, who said, they're talking about the boxing. Tyson Fury said in an interview he's suffering from major depression and is a self-admitted raging alcoholic and cokehead, and he claims he is suicidal, weighing nearly 280 pounds. That's pretty crazy, so maybe that's why the fight is not happening. So John, just about to talk baseball, and did you happen to see Daniel Murphy had 4 RBIs yesterday? Are you surprised at all?
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, the guy's the MVP. It's fucking ridiculous. The fact that we didn't re-sign him is the reason that he's doing so well. Just rubbing salt right in our wound. Ugh.
What a joke. So we're down to 5 teams left. Who do you see winning this Dodgers-Cubs series?
I'm actually going with Dodgers. Did you hear about the fan trying to bring a goat into the stadium?
I did not see that.
Yeah, he got turned away by security, but he did try.
That's nuts. Yeah, I think the Nationals are going to win. I think because of Daniel Murphy, he's just too much to handle for Rich Hill.
My thing is this: I just really don't like the Nationals.
Me neither.
Everyone aside from Daniel Murphy, I kind of dislike, and by kind of I mean a lot.
Yeah, I don't like Bryce Harper. I really like the way he plays. He actually plays hard, which is great. So I don't understand all the hate he gets from stadium to stadium saying overrated. The guy's not overrated. The rest of the team, I hate Worth. He's worthless. Zimmerman, I can't stand. I don't like that team. Daniel Murphy, I obviously like a lot. Should be MVP. We'll see. So
my reason for disdain against Harper is not the fact that he's overrated. It's the fact that he's such a dick. He's a condescending dickhead. Like, he thinks that he's been there, done that already. And in reality, if he retired tomorrow, he'd be a nobody.
Yep, definitely makes sense. So my postseason prediction was wrong. My All-Stars prediction was half wrong. I said Blue Jays, Giants. You were wrong as well. You had the Mets in there. I forget who you had in the AL. You had the Red Sox, right? Mets, Red Sox.
No, I think I did Blue Jays.
I think you had an 86 rematch.
I might have. That does sound like me.
All right, so, and you had the Mets winning, obviously. So who will you say now is going to be in the World Series? I'm going to say it's going to be Cubs, Blue Jays.
I'm going Dodgers, Blue Jays.
Oh, the Dodgers. All right. Now, have you happened to see any of the Dodgers home games? I mean, there was only 2, the wild card game and then Game 3 when they swept the Rangers. And did you see that great sign aimed at Odor? Better to be punched in May than knocked out in October.
No, I didn't see that. That's actually hilarious.
That was funny. Yeah, so they just had a ridiculous home field advantage. It's just so loud there. But we'll keep our eye on that as we get forward. We can move forward. Now, I want to bring this up again because you weren't here. I was talking about Andrew. Andrew had no idea who Ken Bone was. I can't believe it. I'm sure you follow him, or at least have seen who Ken Bone is. Am I correct?
The guy from the debate, right?
Yeah.
Boom, bada bing.
Ken Bone. I mean, this guy is a sensation. Yeah. Another comment from the chat here about Bryce Harper. All young players are cocky. Bryce Harper is only 23 still, and he's had his ass kissed his entire life. That may be true, and in 2 years he'll probably be a Yankee, but I'll definitely hate him. We got the NHL season. NHL season starting tonight. It's going to be a bad year for the Rangers, so we probably won't talk too much hockey on this show because we're Rangers fans, and they're probably not going to do too well this year. Unfortunately, Jeff Gorton has not been a good GM so far. He's gotten rid of all the good players, especially the ones that John liked, such as Carl Hagelin. Am I correct?
I wasn't a big Hags fan. I'm a Zuccarello guy. I like Little Hobbit. I don't know. I'm not the biggest Ranger guy. I'm probably not going to watch a lot of hockey this year. I imagine Lundqvist is going to get a lot of days off this year.
Yeah,
he's still going to make the playoff stuff.
I don't think they're gonna make the playoffs this year.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because they barely made it last year. They got swept, and then they lost even more key players. They traded for Mark Stoll's brother Eric. He's gone now. They gave up 2 first-round picks for him. Keith Yandel, they gave up their top pick 2 years ago, and a first-round pick. They let him go. They've downgraded significantly, haven't replaced. I just don't see. They're another year older. It's not going to happen. That's our NHL preview. We're not going any more in depth than that, other than to say the Blackhawks have a good shot of winning the Stanley Cup this year. Don't you agree?
Huh. No, I'm not following hockey whatsoever, man. So you got to fill me in.
Well, you know the Blackhawks are a great team, a dynasty. They're basically like the Patriots of the NHL. And we're going to talk about football in a second here, but for those of you who are NBA fans, have no fear. We will have our NBA preview show next week because I think the season tips off next week or in 2 weeks. Do you happen to know? Because I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not. I did see that Jeremy Lin dropped 16 points and had 5 assists last night.
Nice. Yeah, but I'll give you guys a little hint here of our NBA season preview. Our NBA finals are the Cavs taking on the Golden State Warriors. That's a spoiler alert, right, John?
No shit. I was talking to Andrew about this the other day. The NBA isn't fun to watch anymore because it's so top-heavy. They have the 2 worst things. They have guaranteed money and salary cap. All it does is stagnate the league. So, for example, when the Knicks made that terrible Bargnani deal, it punishes you for years. You either have to have a salary cap like the NFL without guaranteed money, or no salary cap and guaranteed money like the Major League Baseball. You can't have both. And when you have both, what you do is one team becomes super good, and everybody else, there's not a team in the East or West that could make any noise. Especially now that San Antonio, has finally gotten old enough to be bad again. So it's the whole regular season point.
All right, so here, and I can't believe this because I feel like the preseason's been going on forever already. Frank letting us know here that the NBA season doesn't start till November. So, you know what? We're not talking about it next week. It's too early, and quite frankly, nobody cares, all right? I mean, we got basketball fans, I'm sure, but it's too early to be talking about basketball already, especially when it's going to be a month away. Next week it'll be, not a month away, but half a month away, which is
the only thing that's important is in the next month is this presidential election. I can't stress it enough that if Trump wins, it's going to be a completely different America. If we let this crooked criminal, not fucking psychopath, they're telling her when to smile because she doesn't have feelings like normal people. She is certainly the devil. Little breaking news that happened while I was on Twitter this morning on the way home. All 33,000 deleted emails, guess what? WikiLeaks found them, and they're going to release them. So get ready for November surprise.
All right, so listen, everybody. If you want to read those WikiLeaks emails, all you have to do is go on Twitter and follow at @S_sports. He'll probably retweet every single one of them. And that's the only place you're going to find them because it's unlikely the media will cover them. Isn't that right, John?
Yeah, unfortunately. And you know what? Some of the stories that are in those emails are, a direct example of that, of the media, sending debate questions to Hillary's campaign, but actively colluding with them because they're literally in bed with each other. Great example, Sandberg, she is the controlling officer over at Facebook. She's super pro-Hillary. The actual word on the street is that she's going to get a job in Hillary's cabinet. I wonder why Trump's leak tapes are trending number 1 on Facebook with only 100,000 people talking about it, but WikiLeaks with over 1 million people talking about it isn't trending. Like, it's censorship that is straight Soviet Union, 1984 ridiculousness.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Fox News is terrible as well, but they're the only ones with even an inkling to even talk about it. But
yeah, that's because you have the likes of Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly who actually aren't totally biased. Like Hannity said he's going to vote for Trump, but at least he's actually showing both sides of stories. Bill O'Reilly the same way. So obviously Megyn Kelly or whatever the hell her name is, she is definitely anti-Trump.
Oh, absolutely. She's Hillary. The same thing with Shannon Stuart Shepard. He's just as bad. But the word on the street is that that Trump's going to buy some airtime and just read emails and have like a little Trump special where he does a TV show with just reading emails because it's the only way to get them out there because it's insane the amount of just complacency. Like, the media is just they're so in bed with one side.
We'll leave it at this because we got our NFL talk, which has been promised and our chatters want it. But media, they're trying to make sure Trump doesn't get into office, but they will miss him if he isn't because their cable ratings in the last year are at record highs, all-time highs. And it's not because of Hillary and Bernie and Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio and Jeb Bush. It's because of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump, whether or not he gets elected, he's done one thing for this country, and it's got people interested in the election and register more people to vote. And everyone has to get out there and vote, and you have to make your voice heard. So do that Election Day coming up. And obviously we'll be talking politics, talking the presidential debate as the weeks go on, as we get closer. But NFL, let's start off right away with the recap of Week 5 with the three teams we recap most of the time. We'll start off with the Giants being absolutely awful against the Packers. Eli Manning looking scared. John, did you see Ben McAdoo's gigantic play sheet? I think that whole thing is the size of his body, and every single play is just a variation of a draw or a screen pass to the running back or tight end.
Yeah, it looks like he has a menu for Cheesecake Factory. The fucking guy's ridiculous. The Mets ownership doesn't hear me. Giants ownership is just as bad. They debacle the whole.
Yeah, Jerry Reese is ridiculous, and what a surprise! You throw the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. in the end zone, and you get a touchdown. I mean, how shocking was that? Throw the ball to Beckham, throw the ball to Cruz, throw the ball to Shepard. Stop throwing the ball to Bobby Rainey, and doing these stupid screenplays. I'm sick and tired of McAdoo. McAdoo more like McAdone. He don't know how to manage a clock. He don't know when to call a timeout. He don't know when to throw the challenge flag, and he don't know how to call plays. It's an absolute joke that this guy got the head coaching job, and it's just a real travesty that Tom Coughlin got did dirty and fired, and the Giants unfortunately they're in trouble right now.
My thing is this: if you want to move away from Tom Coughlin, that's fine. I disagree, but that's fine. You should have fired Jerry Reese as well. You can't. Half measures never work out.
They got the same exact coaching staff this year, except McAdoo's the head coach now. But he's still calling the plays. Everybody else is the same, so there's no change.
Exactly. So it's essentially the exact same as last year.
And the defense is awful. They can't stop anybody. It's a joke. And the O-line, Eric Flowers, despite the fact that he's hitting reporters now, he's just been awful on the field.
Look at our first-round draft picks. We had top 10 picks a bunch of times in the winter, and none of them are stars. Now, you look around the league, top 10 picks turn out to be stars all the time, but not for us. We've swung and missed on everybody but Odell Beckham Jr. I'll actually give him JPP. The fact that JPP, the shell of himself, isn't Reese's fault, that idiot played the fireworks. But everyone else, Prince Mukamara, I liked him, but he was just a starter. He's not here anymore. He wasn't a star, so we could reach for him. Flowers looks like a bust almost. I'll give it, Justin Pugh's pretty good, but he's not a top 10 tackle in this league. He's not like the best right guard. He's a starter. Yeah, sure. A bunch of positions. It's nice. But he's not a star, but we took him in the top 10 of the draft. So he swung and missed his player development. And unlike every other league, the NFL is so draft oriented. Not draft oriented. And the really pissed me off about it is the window for Eli Manning included anything. Very tired.
Eli Manning's awful. He should be benched or retire. He's just not good anymore. Another quarterback that's not good in New York is Ryan Fitzpatrick. Surprisingly, he actually did not throw an interception this week, but the Steelers did in fact beat the Jets 31-13. How much of that game did you watch?
Actually, I watched that entire game because my wife was getting ready for the wedding, and I was shit posting on Twitter and watching the Jets get their ass kicked. But get back to the Eli Manning point. Listen. I know Eli Manning has looked bad this year. But if you look around the league, he is still in the top 25% of the league. You know, the Jets would trade their firstborn for Eli Manning, run that bum that they're running out there. But you got to look at this. The play calling is terrible. His first and second running backs gone. The offensive lines and a defense that gives up points like it's the job. You know, his tight end played at Stony Brook.
John, the problem is he's playing scared. People are blitzing him, and instead of stepping up to take a throw and take a hit, he's spiking the ball off the ground. How can you expect to get a first down when you do that? And he's very inaccurate. He overthrew Beckham. He overthrew Todd. He couldn't reach Sterling Shepard. There's something wrong with him. Maybe he's hurt or something, but there's been a significant decline in his game this season.
No, I don't think he's hurt. I think he's gun shy. He's trying to be too fine because he knows that the one turnover or the third 3 and out that they don't get, that's it. The game's over because
he's definitely gun shy. Someone who's not gun shy is Tom Brady. Don't make Tom Brady mad. He came back last week, put up 33 points against the Browns. We knew he was going to dominate that game. Did you see any of that game at all?
I did. They flipped over to it after the Jet game was over. I got to tell you, listen, I called that week 1. Don't make Tom Brady angry because listen, what this guy does every year, he just gets better. He's like a fine wine. He knows that playbook so well. The Patriot system obviously really great, but he just makes everyone around him better because he's that good. And the league is a safer place when Tom Brady gets in place.
I think the Patriots are a favorite to get to the Super Bowl right now. And with Brady, he's going to be on a roll. So we got
look at the weapons he has right now with those 2 tight ends. You can't stop them.
Got credit. Anime and Amendola, LeGarrette Blount, one of the top rushers. Great. They're stacked right now. Real quick, we got about 1 minute left here, so we'll give our predictions for just the 2 New York teams. The Giants are taking on the Ravens at MetLife Stadium. The Ravens are actually playing the Giants this week and the Jets next week, both at MetLife Stadium. It's very rare that ever happened. So who do you got in that game? I have Joe Flacco coming into the stadium, throwing all over the Giants secondary, and the Ravens winning the game.
The Ravens are pretenders. They're not that good. Their shakeup at running back means that they have no real running back. I've never been afraid of Joe Flacco. I'm not going to start being afraid of him today. I think that the Giants are going to start getting their shit together. Maybe the rookie running back will bounce out. I think we need to stop giving touches to Bobby Rainey and freaking the other guy.
All right, we'll see what happens. Giants got to play with his hand, but hopefully one of these weeks your prediction of the Giants winning works out because it's not working out so far. And then Monday night you got the Jets going to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Hopefully, I think Carson Palmer is going to play in that game. I got the Cardinals winning. Jets starting out 1-5 on the year. What about you?
You want to joke about the Giants secondary? Revis looks like shit. He's hurt, not playing right now, and the Jets secondary is just garbage.
And for anyone who wants to know about the terrible Jets secondary as a fantasy owner, go check out Bleacher Report's Facebook or website. There was a great video posted. I don't know who made this. It's great graphics and a story about how you can exploit the Jets defense because it's the second worst fantasy stopping point team in the league, and Revis has been awful. And yeah, Revis Island has turned into quite a nice resort for a lot of big receivers in the NFL.
Look what AJ Green did to him week 1. Just embarrassed. 140 yards.
There's been at least one receiver in every week so far that's had at least 8.
he's capable.